at the old building to order today, April 7th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. We'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Howard, I can hear it. Right here for my computer. So right there, run that out. It's good. It's all hooked up. I just made that. I would recommend the board members approve the agenda for this evening.
And we had an opportunity to look over the agenda. Do I have a motion to accept it?
I'll make that motion.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Agenda passed. Now for the part that everyone's here for, waiting at bated seats, cake awards. How many, I have to ask, how many repeat cake award winners do we have? Do we have any repeats? There you go. Man from Ice Mountain, yeah. Well, cake awards is catching a kid excelling. And it's just whenever you do something, you know, being a good citizen, just doing something above and beyond. We'd like to recognize you because, you know, of course, school is all about learning, but it's also about developing the kind of person you're going to be. And we'd like to showcase and to share your victories, and cake award seems to be with it. And eat a little sweet treat on top of it. But
Ooh, these look good.
are they?
Yes, they've got peeps in them.
I can't say enough praises every month for, oh goodness, probably 5 or 6 years. Every month, our post-art at the high school is the creators of our cake awards. They come up with these on their own and they bring them up to us every month. So if you ever see Miss Nesbitt or any of her kids, just give them a thank you. But I guess without further ado, are we ready to go? Okay, I'm going to start the evening with Cape and Bridge Elementary. With Bethany Shinbrook. Is Bethany here this evening? Bethany is an example to follow in both in academics and citizenship. She is helpful and kind to everyone in her classroom, 5th grade in the school community without exception. She is always the first one to volunteer to help in every way possible. She is also an excellent student, works hard, pays attention, and gives her best effort to every assignment. She always seems eager to learn and to be a friend. She is a joy to be around. And also from Cambridge Elementary, Marley Johnson. There you are. Come on down. Miss Marley is very caring and seems a little shy, kind and a creative young lady. She is always trying her best to work hard and helping classmates in whatever they need. She sets high goals for herself and does her best to achieve them. She is continuing to show growth in both math and reading on iReady and has really improved this year on building her confidence. Congratulations, Miss Marley.
Okay, I got Ice Mountain. We're going to start off with Ariella Mossover. There she comes. Okay, Ariella has such a positive and wonderful energy. She's always appreciative of big things and little things. She consistently uses her manners even if she is wrong. She is always willing to help a student with something they dropped, spilled, lost, and even when they are just sad. She includes everyone and never has a mean thing to say about anyone, besides always having a smile on her face. She gives the most genuine and heart-filled hugs. Next up, y'all might know this one.
Watch him.
He's somewhere sitting here close. Is he named Tyler Martin? We got one of them in. Oh, look at that. All right, Tyler goes above and beyond his teachers and especially his classmates. He randomly brings in treats for his classmates and offers to get anything his teachers, need for the classroom. He is one you can count on to help as well as he asks for help. He enjoys explaining a lesson to his classmates and helping them with their assignments if needed. He tries and gives his best in everything that he does. His happy nature and just smile make anyone feel better. I am fortunate to have Taylor in my classroom. Next up, we have Lakin Codwell. Lakin here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, come on down, Lakin. I think she was sick or something, wasn't she? Yeah, okay, all right. Lakin Caldwell. She was the cake student from February, unable to attend. But Lakin was chosen because she is an exceptional first grade student at Ice Mountain. She works very hard on all her assignments. She's outgoing and always willing to lend a hand. She asked her teachers multiple times if she can help throughout the day. At recess, she looks for people who may need a friend and asks them to play. Her kindness relates to throughout the school. She enjoys playing organized soccer outside of school and participates in gymnastics. She is a well-rounded student who is outstanding.
Okay, I have South Branch Elementary, and first up is Paxton LaFollette. Paxton has made tremendous growth in his school year. He focuses on the lesson and skill at hand and makes every effort to master it. He also reminds classmates of school procedures and is very helpful in the classroom. Paxton always seems to try his best with whatever he does. Funny. And next up, we have Ivy Geber. Okay. Ivy is a very proactive student that takes initiative in her work and in her classroom. She shows responsibility for her classwork and has taken the leadership role of preparing the board for the next day and being an assistant teacher. She is very positive. She is a very positive person. She makes goals for herself and helps our class achieve the goals that we have made. She helps keep us accountable with our lead measures, knows how to put first things first, and is always seeking out win-win solutions. Ivy is a great listener and works well with her classmates. She is a very great leader through her character, actions, and academics. Way to go, Ivy. Next is Windy Ridge Elementary, and we have Kinsley Wyatt. All right, Kinsley. Kinsley is a second grade student in Miss Ray's second grade class at Windy Ridge Elementary. Kinsley is a hard worker who is determined to succeed in all she does. She goes above and beyond in her work. She is the first student to hop out of her seat to assist Miss Ray with anything from passing out papers to picking up trash that is on the floor. She is a friend to all her classmates and even looks out for the younger students. Kinsley is a perfect example of what Windy Ridge honeybees should be. There you go, Kinsley. Dallas Modes. Dallas has been selected as Miss Buck's second grade class K student. Dallas is a kind student to everyone. She always has a smile and works hard in all she does. She strives to do her best always. She is a great peer helper and includes others in outside recess activities. Her favorite thing to do is math problems. Y'all come on in, so I have a lot of more. Math problems, hang on, left off the last time, let's pick up with something good here.
According,
According to her, she likes the up and down problems and does not, but not the side to side, but that'll be it. This little girl is one amazing honeybee.
Right, from Capen, is that one? Yes, Capen Bridge Middle, 6th grade, and I hope I'm saying this right. Balin Dorsch. Balin here. Balin demonstrates outstanding dedication and excellence in school. He consistently demonstrates preparedness, respect, a strong willingness to learn, and a commitment to safety. His positive attitude and desire to do well in school make him a positive role model for others. Congratulations, Balin. Keep up the good work. Seventh grade, Haley Benson. There we go. Haley transitions safely through the halls, follows classroom safety rules, and cares about the well-being of others. She's also conscientious and hardworking. From 8th grade, Addison Blocker. Addison is a bobcat that carries the essence of cool, calm, and collected in the spaces that she enters. She encourages her friends and classmates to accomplish challenging tasks, brings hard work in the form of creativity to her projects, and makes sure to ask questions in the face of uncertainty. Addison is not a person who gives up and remains steadfast in her journey to become the best version of herself. Thank you for striving to bring the bobcat best. Romney Middle, 6th grade, Asher Mowry. Asher is a polite fellow who treats both peers and staff with respect. He does a great job staying on top of his assignments and on the honor roll. He works hard on honing his athletic skills in basketball and football. When he has free time, he enjoys spending it on trips with his family. Seventh grade, Coraline Connolly. Coraline is a hardworking student who always strives to do her best. She comes to class prepared and always on task, and is actively engaged throughout the class period. She is well-mannered and respectful. She showed tremendous growth in her last math and reading I-Ready diagnostic. Coraline is a great example of a student who shows her pioneer pride. Eighth grade, Nathaniel Stokes. Right. Nathaniel is incredibly helpful in my class and is always willing to go above and beyond if something needs to be done. He also keeps up with his work and is never a disruption. Good job.
Hampshire High School. The 9th grade cake winner is Lena Gale. Lena always enters and exits the class with a smile. Lena can be counted on to participate in class, giving well thought out answers with detail. She takes her classwork seriously and always puts forth her best effort. She is honest and thoughtful towards others, making her an easy choice for the cake. Nathaniel Hightafer. Did I say that right, Nathaniel? Okay. All right. Nathaniel is a hardworking young man who always tries his hardest. He's always willing to put in the extra work it takes to be successful in class. His teachers speak highly of him. He has a kind, gentle nature and is always friendly. Way to go. Eleventh grade is Daniel Fuchsia Blunt. Daniel was caught being very helpful around the school recently. Hampshire High has been short-staffed on custodians, and he helped clean classrooms around the school. He is a helpful young man. And 12th grade is Sasha Rohr. Sasha is always present, always prepared, and fully participates in class. She is willing to answer when others are not and is very polite and always smiling.
We appreciate everyone coming, but we'd like to get all the cake award winners on down here front and center. We gotta make your review famous.
You've done this before. You
You gotta get up front here, buddy. Down there. Come on.
Please, guys, sit back here in the bed. Slide this way. Here we go. Oh, that's great. Everybody's
At the count of three, can everybody say spring fever? 1, 2, 3. Spring fever. Yeah, we gotta get all the moms and dads and everything.
close till they're done.
They gotta show grandmas and grandpas and some people at the grocery store. Congratulations, Jennifer. Thank you so much for everybody. Thank you.
Take some sweets. Hey, take some sweets for siblings.
Thanks for losing. I'll make sure you grab that. Maybe show me. Welcome to stay if you like. One day.
Still.
You told me to get them. Hand them out at the end. Stay to the end. Pick it out.
Hey, your next. I'll little bit the others in for a while, okay? Since he's already been here for 2.
Gabe, get a goodie on your way out.
He will.
Oh,
Okay, public calendar hearing.
people bite them down.
You might be able to hear better if you come on now.
Thank you.
Next, we're moving on to the public calendar hearing. Do we have anybody to speak? Sure.
No one signed up. Calendar.
Calendar.
Oh, wait a minute, never mind, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
No appearances.
No appearances.
I'll move on. I will recommend the 17th, 18th, 25th, and 31st, 2025 Board of Education minutes.
We've had a busy couple of weeks.
Yes.
Anybody have any volunteers?
All right.
I'll take that as a motion.
I'll make
It's
that.
amazing.
I'll second it. Okay. Been properly moved and seconded.
Who's second, please?
George.
George did.
Who made the first?
All those in favor, signify by saying yes.
Yeah.
Agenda motion passed.
Okay. The consent agenda, I would recommend the board approve the financial items, budgets to be paid, budget revisions, treasurers, transfer between funds and treasurers.
I see.
If we do that first.
Yeah. Did everyone had opportunity to look over the bills, budgets? Let's go ahead and tackle that. I'll entertain a motion to approve consent agenda item A.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, they're probably moved segment. All those in favor says yes.
Yes.
Passed.
I would like to recommend that we go into executive session. Take any action on personnel.
Should we go into executive session?
Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, been properly moved and seconded that we go into executive session to discuss personnel issues. All those in favor, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
We are now reciting into executive session for personnel issues at 6:53.
I, add your live again.
Okay.
Well.
I'd like to entertain a motion to come back out of the executive session.
I'll make that motion that we back on the executive session.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? All those in favor, signify by saying yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We are now out of executive session at 7:50. I apologize for the length of it. We had some strictly personnel issues to discuss. And considering the severity, we wanted to give it as much information as we want to. So continue on with the.
I would recommend that the board approve the personnel consent agenda items as presented.
I'll make that motion. We approve the personnel consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
You have any questions or anything on that? Have a question, resignation? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
On the non-consent agenda, I would just recommend board members approve revisions to policy 2140, recovery of lost instruction time due to late arrivals and early dismissals, and policy 2150, driver's education.
Those are in our information packet. Was there any discussion or anything on those? Pretty straightforward. Okay, I'll make that motion. Okay. Probably move to second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Passed.
Okay, on B, I would recommend the board members approve the first reading of policy 2440, virtual education program. But to give you to get you up to speed, Mrs. Stump is with us this evening and would like to take a few minutes to she has worked extensively along with some other members of the central office staff to revise, to create, to study, to reach out to other counties throughout the state, various companies, to gather as much information as she could gather to put together and relate this policy moving forward as a way to hopefully meet state policy and maybe recover some of our students that we are losing.
Absolutely. I think that was the most exciting, just going over it. I'd like to never learn more because yeah, I think it's a great step to bridging some gaps.
Okay, well, first of all, I do want to say that I definitely support the teachers in our classroom who are working very hard and support learning in the classroom with hands-on instruction and lab. So I want to get that out there, but when we looked at policy 2510, West Virginia policy, we realized that every county is required to offer a full-time virtual program for grades 6 to 12. And we currently are offering a full-time virtual program to students on our homebound, some of our alternative education students, or students placed by the board who need to be on virtual. And we do have high school students taking West Virginia Learns classes, but typically they are at school and they take 1 or 2 classes. And so we don't really have a full-time option for everyone. So in order to fully meet that policy, we needed to provide an option for grades 6 through 12. And so, Mr. Fizel, if you want to help me there with the presentation. And those are just some of the things I just mentioned. So why I'm here tonight, but you can go to the next one, Mr. Fizel. So the next one is just, what is virtual learning? Just it is education, but primarily through technology and virtual platforms. Students may work from home or in remote settings. They may learn at a different pace than their peers, and it gives a little bit more flexible option. And what we were finding is that some of our county students want a more flexible option, and we are losing students to homeschool for various reasons. But I think after COVID in particular, families are looking for a more flexible option, and they maybe want to have their children at home for various reasons. So we did take a look. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're right. Okay, so goals of our program. we want to first of all meet our West Virginia Code 18-15-4 and West Virginia Policy 2510. We want to provide an alternate instructional option for our county students. We want to provide for varying needs of families and learners, more flexibility in learning schedules. We also want to evolve with the technology in education. And we want to retain students dropping to homeschool or other educational programs and retain funding for those students who are dropping to homeschool or other educational programs. So those are the goals of why we are updating our policy. And when we look at the data, we looked at it by grade level, and we had 196 intents to homeschool during this school year alone, where they were enrolled, but then they gave their intent to homeschool. And then on the flip side, we had 64 terminations of homeschool, which means they either re-enrolled in Hampshire County or re-enrolled in some other program or some other school. But total, according to our WEVIS data that Ms. Odell keeps up for us, we have 650 homeschool students reported in WEVIS in Hampshire County. And just knowing a little bit, many of those students are on a virtual program for their homeschooling platform.
This would be like in Foster.
Correct. And Foster, sometimes they want to go to a West Virginia virtual academy, which is not homeschool, but a charter school, but they're looking for virtual options. And many homeschool students use a virtual option anyway for homeschool. So we also looked at the HOPE data. And these students are students who are on homeschool.
No.
Well, they gave an intent to homeschool and they applied for the HOPE scholarship.
No.
Okay, can you correct me?
There's a difference between a homeschool and Hope Scholarship. So you have to add those two together. We have homeschool students that are going to homeschool doing a program totally on their own. Students apply for the Hope Scholarship. They can homeschool, they can go to a program, but the Hope Scholarship ones are the ones that qualify for the funding. So you technically have to add these two numbers together. So you take the 650 and the 123 and add them together to get the total number of students who are.
And that does not include students that have gone to the virtual charters. West Virginia Preparatory Academy of the Preparatory Academy of West Virginia and the West Virginia Virtual Academy. Both of those are transfers and just like going to Kaiser. That's how those are coded. They're not scholarship, they are not total. They are the same fully virtual option.
Okay, I don't mean to sound ignorant or foolish, but you all are telling me that there is, for example, rough numbers, about 775 students in Hampshire County, which is more than the population of our high school. That are an alternative learning.
There are at least that many. That doesn't include the ones that are in virtual. Like the Virtual Academy of West Virginia would be a transfer, so they don't show up in this data.
And Ms. Stump, I don't want to veer off or anything.
No.
What about the success rate? Of that 775, let's say.
Well,
So that's
they only have to prove data 3, 8, and 11.
3, 5.
3, 5, 8, and 11.
They either
So
take the summative assessment or they create a portfolio and show progress, academic progress. Corrected on those years.
So the short answer is we don't have a measure to tell how successful they are because we don't,
Other
the
than
state doesn't collect data every year.
And currently, help me out, Adam, guys, as to these. Counties sort of have a mutual agreement. We're not billing, counties are not billing one another right now. Okay, so for example, if we had a student from Kanawha County to enroll in program, we could charge that county what we rate that we get, which was about 5,000. But if we had a student who went to Kanawha County, because of their tax rate, they could charge us, but their tax base and what they get per student is about 30,000 compared with 5 for us. that how Denise explained it to us today, or she's explained it to me.
I know that that's the gist of it. I don't know numbers.
So
after
each county, depending on
I don't know
where they're at in their
about
tax
that.
base,
It's about
what they receive on taxes is different per kid. So if they start billing, like I think Denise said, last year, we paid roughly $60,000 to outside counties for students enrolled in their programs. that
So
they-
so in considering we're a border county with Berkeley, Jefferson, that have large tax bases. About trying to get blood in the turnip.
I can say, I know Morgan get some of ours, because I know I used to sign off.
Okay.
Like, I know that was the thing every year, there would be some that would go.
So when we looked at our data, because we wanted to make data-driven decisions, and Mr. Poncione said, Chrissy, you might want to look at the elementary data, because we were just thinking, okay, we have to do the 6 to 12, let's just do the 6 to 12. But when we looked at those numbers by grade level, we realized kindergarten through 5th grade, those numbers are just as large or larger than all of the other grade levels. And in kindergarten in particular, I think that's where families sometimes, right when students are starting school, they're trying to weigh, do I want to send my student to school at this stage? Or do I want to keep them home and educate them myself? So we have a lot of students, now that's the hope with the homeschool.
Yeah,
Also, yeah, you can flip
the
back.
data came out statewide that the Hope Scholarship, 44% of the Hope Scholarship students are in K1 and 2. And 40, now that's statewide, that was released this week. 44% of the Hope Scholarship students are in K1 and 2. And if you look, our data mimics that.
Supports that.
Like, I was like, wow, is that real? And I went in and I mean, I know that we're at 44%, but it mimics it.
That seems like there's a lot of parents that have great intentions, but then they see that the work that is involved or the lack of success that certified teacher or just our teachers are having, then they give up and send them back.
Well, kindergarten doesn't have the same enrollment requirements.
Yeah.
In most grades, you have to be enrolled for 45 days before you qualify, but kindergarten can start.
So given this data, we realized we probably need, if we're gonna start this in our county, we may just want to start at K-12 and try to help meet the needs of the families in our community who are seeking other educational programs. This doesn't mean that every one of them would be interested in returning and coming back to Hampshire County, but we are hoping that if a student is going to be on a virtual program anyway, and parents want an option that is vetted with West Virginia standards, is rigorous, it's going to give them an, comparable education as far as the content to where they can then, if they decide, at a later time, if their life circumstances change or they want more of the social aspect of school and want to come back to in person, they will be on track theoretically with their peers based on content. And so we're really hoping that that we can offer something to our families in our community who are currently not attending Hampshire County School, that offer an option where they can still learn at home, but they're now learning West Virginia standards, and they will hopefully re-enroll in our county and be part of our school community, but do their learning platform at home. So then that led us to research several different options, and I kind of narrowed it down to several different things to just for our program comparison. The first one was West Virginia Learns, which our high school students are using currently for some standalone courses. Our alternative education is using that and as their learning platform. And they do have vetted courses with West Virginia standards taught by certified teachers. It's very rigorous and the assignments are numerous. It involves a West Virginia Learns platform, which doesn't integrate with Schoology. So it's a new platform for students to learn, and sometimes it's a little more difficult to navigate. It is only offered 6 through 12. So that's one thing also, that if we went with that route for secondary, we'd still need to find another route for elementary that wouldn't necessarily align perfectly or be a great transition. In West Virginia Learns, one of the things that we saw our students struggle with is that they have a lot of assignments due. It's perfectly where flexible when and how they complete that. But it's, we find our students have difficulty time managing and staying on a course to complete it by the end of the semester. And they struggle with understanding how is my grade. And it showed they start basically at 0, and correct me if I'm wrong, they start at 0 and then they have to get 100% completed. But they can't really tell, I've got an 85 or a 92, and it's really difficult to know how they're doing at any given snapshot in time. You can see from 0 to 100 what percentage of the course they've completed, but you don't really know their grade.
There's
Without
multiple
some-
grades in it.
In
that not
the
will give you
calculations.
Like one will say, there's also a grade that will give you a percentage of what work currently turned in. So out of the work you've turned in, you've gotten an 85%. Out of the total work, you have a 3%.
So it almost
Very
sounds like this
confusing.
platform, it's just about doing the amount of work, not the quality thereof, it's just the amounts. Is that why, and I'm gonna ask a loaded question, is that why we tend to see the success rate of Western Learns much lower?
There's a lot of things that come into that. It's a very rigorous course that is self-paced. So the students have to be very self-motivated. I can tell you personally, I wouldn't do it. Like, I'm not a good online learner. I know that. I would struggle with it. I don't have the discipline to do it. And when you've got kids that they struggle with it, they do. So it's very rigorous and that fast that it's high standards, moves fast.
They do expect quality. They
Yes.
expect so much quality and they will send the assignments back. But there is a lack of direct support and communication between the teachers in the state with these students. It's hit or miss because a lot of the teachers for this are also teaching inside the classroom. So they don't.
So it's not immediate feedback.
Exactly.
It'd be a couple days before you get it.
Teacher.
So that's the option we currently use for some of our virtual learners. I'm gonna talk about Acellus first. Skip over to that. I looked at Acellus because some neighboring counties are using this. I did do a conference call for over an hour with their representative and learned how it worked, video-based lessons and assessments. And it does provide some adaptive instruction if the computer program senses that a student is struggling with course material, or if there's gaps in learning, they add lessons in as students need it. So it is very intuitive to the student, but it is not aligned directly with West Virginia standards. So we would have to vet all of those courses and supplement where it does not align specifically. And the representative said it's really not meant to take the place of all teachers and be a standalone program. It's really meant to have a teacher of record that still helps facilitate. And so by the end of our call, I realized I don't think this is what we're intending. It's not going to meet the entire learning package of our students. We would still have to hire teachers on top of that to help facilitate in that way. So it did integrate some motivational strategies and some social elements, which I liked. But it just didn't seem like I thought it would fit what we need for our students. Then we also have other counties that are using Kanawha County Schools virtual program. So I thought, well, I'll check into that. Found that it is K-12. They vet their courses with the West Virginia standards. All of their teachers are certified West Virginia teachers. They include some things like an orientation and onboarding to help set up, make sure everybody understands how to be successful with platform and what the expectations. They use the Schoology platform, which is what we use in our county. So if students were our students, they should be familiar with that Schoology platform, and hopefully they wouldn't have to learn a new platform. They provide for the needs of students with IEPs, whereas West Virginia Learns, this is kind of the curriculum, and
They
it
make
wasn't.
some modifications. They don't make all the modifications.
So this program, if we choose to have them do it, they will also provide direct services to students with IEPs virtually. So if they need 30 minutes per week or 2 hours, up to 2 hours. Depending on the severity, they can do that in addition to their course material. They provide a virtual, they could provide our virtual coordinator with reports and how our kids are doing. So whereas West Virginia learns that we do have, I think, a facilitator who can see grades, but we would be more on top of how are our kids doing with the Kanawha. They are flexible to meet the needs of our county policy. They include weekly communication to all the families, which I thought was tremendous.
Okay, that-
Like an email or a call to say, here's how your kid's doing, or we're concerned about your child. They have a coach who actually pulls grades at the end of the week. We see who's progressing, how are they doing. They call families or they notify us and we tag team. It sounds like a collaboration approach. And they give assignment deadlines for the secondary. It's weekly assignments. And kids can be flexible within the week, but they have to turn in a minimum at the end of the week. And that counts for attendance and then their grades as well. So instead of a big pacing guide for the whole course that given to a kid, it's here's what you need to do this. Here's how you focus this week.
How does,
Lights.
Correct.
how does Kanawha compare to the other one about bridging the gaps in lost learning?
Well, so, they're going to be like any other teacher, they're a teacher, it's not a computerized program, so it's not going to be individualized for every student, I don't believe. But I know in their grades, they give individualized feedback, they give comments, they do give support. And so this is the other thing that was appealing. They give online tutoring and office hours for their teachers. Every week, their teachers have office hours where a kid can log in and get free tutoring. It's embedded in this program if they're not understanding content. So then if they need to differentiate or individualize at that point, they can help them with the content.
Now, are there yearly assessments made on that student that are enrolled with?
So in this program, if we were to choose this as a county, we would enter into an MOU and in a partnership with them. The students that we have would be our kids. They're going to enroll in Hampshire High School, Windy Ridge, Romney Middle. They are going to be enrolled in our school and they're our students. What's going to happen is they will register for that virtual learning. We have to have a registration form and Kanawha will bill us at the end of the semester for students who take classes. But we get the funding for that student as a.
So it goes on our 7th month.
Yeah, they would be our students and they would follow the same requirements that our students do. So when we offer an assessment, they would have the same opportunity for that assessment. The one thing we talked about was, we're going to require the summative. So they are going to come in at the end of the year. So anything that our students offer, they offer. And in elementary, I believe they even did the benchmark testing. Did they not say they did a form of benchmark testing in elementary?
They do additional 6 weeks one-on-one assessments to make sure those elementary students are getting the basics. And so they have a one-on-one session with those students. In elementary as well, it is beyond just here's your assignments because elementary students are going to struggle with that. So they give them a binder of materials and practice materials. And then they also have a weekly required live session with the class so that they're interacting. They also have some additional opportunities for elementary, like virtual STEM activities, virtual book clubs, some social things. And in their county, they offer their students like a time to get together once a week as elementary students, like at the park, or like they call it a recess with their virtual students, and do little field trips. So they recommended, like, if we get to that point and have the personnel to do it, that has been really helpful to develop those social skills with the elementary students. So anyway, they do offer a lot of support. If they find that a student is struggling, maybe with depression or some concerns, they do have an app that they use to kind of check in with the students' mental health and kind of how are you feeling today. They push with emojis, and if there's a concern flag, then they can notify us to kind of check it out or reach out to the family or do a mental health referral. So they want their students to be successful. And I could tell Mr. Fizella and I did a conference call for the third time with them last week, and that they really want their students to be successful. So with all that, kind of looking at some different options, and I know that there are other programs out there, but I kind of chose some of the neighboring counties, what they're using. Mr. Fizella, I would recommend from a curricular standpoint anyway, that if we were going to do this, we try Kanawha County Virtual Program. And I want to point out the success rates. They said when they first started this after COVID, they did not have a high success rate. And so they've been tweaking the program and putting in supports and trying to figure out what works to help students be successful. And you can see that last year in high school, they had a 90% success rate, as in success as in passing rate. Middle school was 93%, elementary was 93%, and their IEP passing rate was 96%, according to what they've posted on their website.
Okay, I'm always a pessimist. What's the downfall?
Yeah. What's the downfall? Well,
There's gotta be some sort of shortcomings that maybe Kanawha doesn't do.
You know-
well as others.
Well, they have a program compared to anyone else. Like this is a school. And when you look there, they have an executive director, an assistant executive director, an entire team. Like we were talking to their team.
Okay,
So they have people that are doing this. This is their job. They have teachers that do this. So
this isn't an add-on to someone
Right.
else's.
they have enough people and enough
This is
staff.
all they do.
Yes.
Okay.
So when they do
well, the
this,
teachers are contracted in secondary, but they hire 4 full-time elementary student
Okay.
teachers to do this. They have an ed director, an executive director, a coach.
What's the cost per student?
What's the cost per student? We're
Yep.
still kind of negotiating that. And that is the thing. It is a little bit more expensive in the long run than West Virginia learns, but we are getting more services and a higher success rate.
Exactly, there you go, the higher success rate.
Acellus was approximately $250 per month, so. You know,
West Virginia Learns is what, 200 credit hour, isn't it?
it's $100 a half credit.
$100.
so for this, we were we're still working out some final estimates, but it was about $1,000 for 4 courses per semester for high school. So about $2,000 for a full 8-course program for high school per student.
Numbers will come out, like that'll all be decided in the MOU that you would sign. Like we'd know a full cost before anything was decided.
Approximately middle school, since they only take 6 courses in the year, typically they would be about $750 per semester.
Is there any other surrounding?
But elementary is a little bit more because they do more services and
Absolutely.
provide live sessions as well.
Is there any counties surrounding us that are using?
I know that Berkeley County started with using Kanawha and their instructors and their curriculum. And then they got to the point where they can offer their own. And so they purchased, from what I understand, the curriculum from Kanawha, but now they are at a point to hire their own. Berkeley.
Okay, is that the proximity or something that, I believe it was Berkeley uses, they call it something now, is it? Didn't I thought
It's just another, I think that's just another virtual program like Edmonton,
okay.
Yosemite.
I know that Wayne County partnered with them last year. We heard the coach that we would have, this year. The coach that we would have is the same one that they've assigned to Wayne. So she was actually on our call as well. Now, I mean, are there things, do I think this is going to be bumpy? Yes. I mean, I think it's going to be, and I don't think this is going to be an option for all students. I think it provides a flexible option, just virtual in general, but I still think that many students will learn best in school. But I think that if we need to offer some flexibility, I was very encouraged in my after our conference call, which last week took 2.5 hours, Mr. Pizel and I spent with these people. And I felt like if we have a chance of being successful with our students for the first year in particular with this program.
Well, you know, and painful it is to say, you know, we generally don't have much success with Western New learners. Just because you said the rigor and a lot of the students don't have that discipline to be able to
And
set the pace themselves.
It's a concern that I have with any program.
Well, and this bridges that gap. It has that, which has the feedback, which has those
That engagement.
people on their side that are gonna watch the kids. And as soon as the kids start dropping,
Yeah.
they start getting more attention. They are offering the tiered system support in the virtual. So when a kid starts dropping and starts falling behind, they're gonna offer support for that kid. They may say, instead of you have a weekly guideline, you have a daily thing that you have to meet. And they're gonna, so they will change the way they're instructing to meet that kid and meet that student's needs before they throw them out. So it's not just, here you go, you gotta do it. If you don't do it, but actual work with the kid and provide the support that they need. That's the advantage to this. But you're also looking at a county that's traveled this road. Like, you know, they know what they're doing. They've gone through this doesn't work.
They've got
Really
real
wanna
much
keep
work
this-
out of it.
They've already.
And they're still working on it.
Right.
But how long's the bugs program been?
They said they started it after COVID, so I'm assuming probably 2021.
I like the aspect of it with the attendance.
I do too. I like going on the second month report, because we know
Yeah,
what that
that shows
means.
accountability.
Yes.
We have to have the numbers.
So with the.
They would be our students. Unlike these would be our students. They are in our Weavis.
I like
They
that.
run everything with ours. We split them like we do with the state school. So they would be on our Weavis and their Weavis, and everything would flow back and forth.
Numbers matter. Numbers matter.
Yes.
And us having those students on our record would make a big difference.
Well, that, and then just like what Ms. Stump was saying,
Yeah.
you know, life changes, life happens. So there may be somebody on this program, and then they have the opportunity to come back to school. They're not gonna be an anchor, you know, holding them, trying to touch up everything.
Well, and
They should be able to fall
Well,
right
and
in.
they meet our
Yes.
graduation, our requirements, the state standards and the graduation. So they're not, like when with the program we started out with the Advento, we struggled to match up the courses with the high school courses so that we could get them credit and then to meet the standards. That we were somewhat limited.
Because they are still school students, they are enrolled in those schools, then they do have the same privileges as other students to participate in sports and extracurricular activities. Things like that. They're on the roster. The counselors would still meet with them and help them determine course schedule.
like.
What courses do they need to graduate?
With everybody.
Like that, like they're in
And plans for after.
correct. They're still our kids. And then so we can help them be successful as much as possible. So
And it
anyway,
could easily flow, kids that wanted to do CT classes could fall in, where if they come in to take an ag class, that would go on their schedule. It'd be an easy flow for them to take if they wanted something in person. If they wanted to go to auto and get that certification, they could go in and take those classes.
so they do offer us, if a student wanted to be blended, like for those reasons.
Okay.
Participate in the band, to do a CT class, they could take some classes online and then also take some at school. There are a lot of logistics, I'm sure, to work out, and so one of our next steps is to create, passing of the policy, create a handbook that would be more specific procedures. So do you have any questions on the policy itself?
The first step is to get the policy. Yeah, so that we can get it. Thank you to Mrs. Stump and the other directors in the, they all diligently to create the policy and.
And it was a team effort. I want to say it wasn't just me. It was a team effort, as you can hear. I
have to
tried
say,
to bring
I
up the.
truly appreciate it because you all have seen you have seen the shortcoming of West Virginia Learn to,
Right.
and is it, during an expulsion hearing, when it was our only option to be able to put them in there, and you just knew that.
You just
this
knew
is not gonna end well.
certain individuals were not gonna be successful.
and
You knew it,
It's just the adjustment.
but we had
And
no other.
like, I think was mentioned, they do have an alternative virtual option as well for their alternative students where they basically take the week-long pacing guide and put it into daily chunks for those students. More check-ins, they would add in the mental health component. They really streamline it to where it's very focused and to help students who struggle be more successful as well. So I've just sort of mapped out, this is just projected timelines. If it all worked out beautifully, we read the first reading tonight, second reading, the next few board meetings. If that's the way we want to go and you guys voted in, we have an MOU agreement we would have ready. We would then ask possibly pending funding of a virtual program coordinator that would be in charge at our end and in helping with enrollments, helping with communication, helping with the orientation with Kanawha, up to 18 hours per week. So, and we asked them, do you think that's sufficient for now? And they said yes, that would be great. The other thing that this person would do, we hope in May, after we would hire this person, would to be to recruit our homeschool students and our Hope Scholarship students. And hopefully in the summer, do a campaign, social media, mailings to our families to inform them that this option, we're trying to begin this option to help meet the needs of families who want it. And hopefully get kids back to school. And then in July and August, continue to enroll and do our program orientations and begin.
That's it.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
The first reading of policy 2440, the virtual education.
I like one of yours, say, well, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? I'll second it. Yeah. I'm good. All those in favor, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
I would recommend the board members calendar A as the approved calendar for the 25-26
Can I just
year.
ask a question? Because a lot of times on this thing, it's hard for me, especially why it's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so when they come back, looking at this, when do they come back from Christmas break? What's the date that they're actually coming back? Are they coming back just on the 2nd or are they coming back on the 5th?
They come back on the Monday. I think
Okay,
The
that
fifth-
was my,
this year we had, because of the way it fell, we did two days typically to give the high school get prepared to write their syllabus and everything out. This year, the way it falls, there's only one day, so we will give them that one day, prep day, and then the kids will start back on Monday,
okay.
The fifth.
Monday the 5th, yeah. The 2nd is the PL day.
Okay, that's fine. I just could see that being a
Yeah.
waste of time,
Yeah.
trying to bring kids back for
Yes.
Friday after.
And also getting it there, we are still able to complete and finish close, basically that falls in there. That's the end of the first semester, but it still allows us to get the 84 days in needed to have the first semester so that the kids, before they go on Christmas break, they've already completed their first semester finals. Because one year we ran out and then when we ran into snow
Oh my
and we were
gosh.
still
And they came
mid-January
back.
trying to wrap up the first semester and finish up finals.
I based it on, because I looked at it at home where you didn't have it in black and white, but the question was addressed, why would you have the last day of the semester be the day the students come back from winter break? And I was thinking, do they come back till Friday? You know,
Yeah.
so, okay, I got it. I'm all good.
Back here. That was still May. Yes. That's May. So what Mr. Lees is asking, he wants to know the last day for students. Based on this calendar, Graduation will be on the 22nd. Seniors will be done. Last day for students will be May 28th. And barring no makeup days, that P-Day moves all the way back in front of those OS days, and June 29th would be the last day, would be the prep day, the last day for staff. May 29th.
Right, okay.
That's good.
So, you see, and sometimes in my craziness, it's not what people don't understand, is when we call snow days, how we are being very selective in what we do as a snow day, what we do as a non-instructional day, trying to, even though it's cold, we can delay and come in and get a day, because then anything, when we get outside of that magical 10, then you have to start making up. Then even though this says the prep day is on June 4th, depending on the amount of days, you just keep right on, it keeps riding. You miss a day after day after day after day, so you make up, till you get your 180 days.
Right.
Yep, every day you miss, you gotta make up.
I'll make that motion and we approve calendar A is 5/26.
And I'll second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, I'll entertain all those in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
D, I would recommend the board members approve the addendum to the agreement for Hampshire County Schools based behavioral clinic, and that's just with EA calls. And now with the new schools, there's some room there. They're ready to expand into Windy Ridge and what was the other school? I can't remember. Surely. Two of the elementary schools. And also I've been working with Mr. Powers and also Charlie, who is on the board at EA Balls. Mrs. McCartney has asked and the possibility of trying to expand the health care program that's in Romney Middle School, where they get 2 hours of a PA actually in the school, and then we have 2 hours at Hampshire High School to maybe possibly get 2 hours at the Cape Ridge Middle School. She thinks it will greatly impact her attendance and everything. So we've reached out and been trying to work with them about the possibility of expanding that program also. But this addendum is just to expand the mental health services into the 2 elementary schools.
I'll make that motion. If we approve the addendum to the agreement for Hampshire County School-Based Behavioral Health.
Second.
Oh, go ahead, John.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying yes. Opposed? Motion passed.
Right, on the others, before you do your other business, I have lots of positives that
All we like five.
that we shared with our directors. We have finished all of our school success visits. I have in your packets here, I have the Ice Mountain and the Cape Ridge Middle School final report. We just finished our last schools of South Branch and Romney Middle School. One thing, Mrs. Billmar left, one thing that she did an interview at Romney Middle School with some of the students that were made to transition from more in classes in resource rooms that were transitioned back out into the regular ed classrooms. She spoke to those students, interviewed them. They were nothing but extremely positive about the transition. They felt like they were learning more. They were getting more in those classes. They liked being out in the classes with their peers. So that was a result of the state of emergency, one of the recommendations that Amanda implemented. And we did get Denise to get her county audit back with no fines. Absolutely no fines on her audit. Mrs. Lips and Mrs. Denise working on the ESSER monitoring, putting that in, and that's been, I think we only had a couple of items that were questioned that they had provided documentation, but that's been great. In your packet, I've got all this for you. The $15,000 breakdown that we did for furniture, 5,000 for each school, we can run $15,000. So every organization that came, Denise worked and created a formula for the number of individuals for the organization, the number of hours worked, and how it played out to all the different organizations that received the share of that $15,000 as it was divvied out. And some of the hitters was, for example, South Branch Elementary for their playground committee. They received $5,033. The girls' sports were pretty active. The girls' basketball team, $1,600. Girls' soccer, almost $1,500. The education at Rising girls or students that participated was over $1,000. Ice Mountain was almost $1,500 for their playground. Windy Ridge almost over $1,700 for theirs. So there's a quite extensive list of organizations that participated, and she's got to break down how she dispersed those funds that we did. We haven't been back to talk about, but I think probably the consensus of our entire group of the visit with Senator Justice was a good day. You can throw politics aside, whatever you think. I thought he did an outstanding job with students,
Yes.
the parents, staff, everyone in attendance. I thought he took time, interacted. I guess that's what politicians does, but I thought he did a great job. I think each individual that went through that line that got an opportunity, he addressed, he talked to, he made them feel welcome. It was great to watch the high school kids coming up in groups.
Absolutely. I mean, regardless of what they did to those kids, but they were on their best behavior.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. You're right. Both groups were phenomenal. The high school, I think Mrs. Haynes said they had been waiting probably on us to arrive, probably 45 minutes to an hour, and had been setting it. And wow, it was a great day. Miss Emily is here. She shared attendance data with the principals at our last meeting. So she's doing a phenomenal job. She compared, and that's in your packet, but she took the data and compared it from where we're at in schools 140 days this year to where we were at in 140 days last year. The great news is the chronic absence rate. The state tells us we need to be below 20%. The magical number is 19.99%. Currently, we are sitting at 19.90. Yes, give her. Cape and Bridge.
Cambridge Middle now.
Cape and Bridge Middle School was the big winner. They are down almost 8% from this time last year. Ms. Emily has bragged and commented on them to the State Department, and they are going to be interviewing Cape and Bridge Middle School in December about what they're doing and the programs that have been implementing in this performance there, the great things that they're doing at that school. On the flip side, on the attendance data, our attendance rate, Romney Middle School was almost 1.5 points above where they were, below where they were last year. They're above. We're looking for highs. So they're sitting at 93, almost 93.5% of the daily attendance rate. So the two middle schools are sort of kicking it. And just to get you an idea of that chronic absence, we look for anything below 20% is great. Cape Ridge Elementary is 14.5%. Ice Mountain is 9.5%. Windy Ridge is set at 10%. South Branch is at 19.4%. Romney Middle School is 20%. And Hampshire High School is at 28%. 2 years ago, Hampshire High School was setting at 40%. So in a couple of years, they've cut that. Last year they got it down to like 24%. So I'll still look for them.
They're moving in the right direction.
We had the fire marshal in the county. Other than he wrote up the bus garage for a something, an exit light out, and he wrote the new central office up, or we had a ceiling tile out in the cafeteria, and Mr. Randy Hyde had been painting and had some of the electrical cover plates setting off on the floor thing where he paid. He wrote us up for not having those, a couple of those electrical plates up there. But other than that, that was the only findings I've seen to date. None of the schools have any citations or recommendations, so it was another good thing. Another positive is the cafeteria is now cleared at Augusta Elementary School. Thank you to Mrs. Salzer, who sent 5 young men out last week, and I got to spend the day with 5 high school students, which was they were very reserved until I took them to lunch at El Centro. But after we went to lunch, it sort of loosened up, and we're not on camera, but they wanted things to find to do, so that they was with me till 2:30 till they returned. But they were a great bunch of young men. They worked hard, and we had a great day, and we were able to move stuff, help maintenance guys get stuff in their vehicles, trailers that they transported and took to storage at the old Slanesville Elementary School. We were able to move stuff to the out trailers there and pick up the site, and then we took several of those down to Windy Ridge that belonged to them. So we had a very productive day with those guys and the maintenance crew. So I say thank you to them. We completed the Teacher of the Year and Service Personnel of the Year interviews. Those are now completed. I just wish everyone would have the opportunity to sit in on both. I did not participate in the service personnel, but I did on the Teacher of the Year interview. But to hear those individuals that we interviewed, they are our best and of some of the very best in our county, in our schools, that are selected by their peers who see the qualities and what is occurring in their classroom every day. It is one of the best days that you could ever spend as a superintendent, as a principal, to sit in on those interviews and hear they talk from the heart about the things that they do, the passion they do, and what they do every day in classrooms. It is phenomenal, and it is also one of the hard decisions to select one individual out of a group, because they're all very worthy and very extraordinary in their own rights. Greenhouse, still working on that. Mr. Morgan and I have made multiple contacts to
Making progress.
Companies from anywhere from Indiana, Illinois, to Virginia, to finally to Minnesota. We have an individual that Mr. Morgan found, and we both spoke to him, and the teacher in Pendleton County reached out to him and see if he had a contact. Well, he did most of the assessment online and learned about it, and did most of finding the products, and then contracted with a contractor to put up his greenhouse. So the final stage, Mr. Morgan and I have decided we've reached out to a couple of local individuals that have greenhouses in our surrounding area, and hopefully to meet with them to maybe have them come in and look at that list we have and say, yes, this is what you need. This can be fixed. Hopefully we can. And it's not that we haven't stopped working, but it's sort of hit a wall. That the one contact that Mr. Morgan had, that gentleman retired, and his replacement hasn't been very. I've spoken to that individual 4 times and promises that someone will be contacting me, and I get the same runaround each time. And I think trying to go to a corporate level, when you got to someone that was in, I guess, manning a phone system for that company out of their own home, and they had no idea even to tell me to talk to or help me with a product. In your packets also is my superintendent's update, and I have made contact with Rick Moreland, and the PO is in place for him to complete the survey at the Springfield Green Spring. Mr. Moreland and those guys were able to get out and put a post out in the field showing where the leach fields is from the septic tank. I did get the notification, I don't know if she left it. Mrs. Billmar did receive a guidepost to graduation grant today in the amount of $41,000. Yes. So those are
Awesome.
just a few of the positives that we have experienced over the last couple of weeks.
And we have a date sale.
So,
May
well,
3rd.
it is we take principals, look, and then they decide once they go through schools, well, I need this, I want to look, so they keep adding to go getting tables. The next round is to find a date and go with Mrs. Haynes to come to the old school here because she wants tables, chairs for small groups and various other items for Hampshire High School. So she is the next one. But yes, Crystal's been posting as she can. We go and try to separate photos taken, get stuff up, but it is.
Because that website's not working.
She told me it is working.
No, it's working.
It is.
Okay.
I thought it wasn't working. That's.
No, it is.
The last time.
Yes, we heard last meeting, it wasn't.
Okay.
Not anything.
Well, she said she's been putting a lot.
Yeah, she's been putting a lot up because I actually made a purchase
Yeah, I bet she-
one last week.
Yeah.
I got into a bidding war with, I think with a fellow employee in the board office.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
think we both.
It was me. No.
It was you.
She told me today she sold 23 of the 64 things, 23, 27 of the 64 things that she is on. I know she sold 9 things today.
So it's not official that it's May the 3rd, but she told me. That's.
I haven't. I didn't see Denise but one time today, and that was not one of the things we talked about. The other thing is, yes, they are finished. Again, with the roof, blow off height roof, got on that and got finished. I had talked to Walter this afternoon, probably he did not get on the roof today with the wind and the rain to start up the youth. They worked on Friday and they've been delayed because, again, he's fearful of getting on the roof there at Hampshire High School because of the height on the backside. And I think he had some experience where many years ago, they were pulled off panels and the wind caught it and cut one of the guys, almost lost a couple of things. So he's very cautious of getting on that roof when there's any amount of wind that connect or could take those metal panels and blow one of those guys off the roof or the metal itself. But so that's all I have.
I don't have a whole lot, but I do have a little bit of good news. I know both our middle schools, the PTOs are very old PTOs as well as the school themselves have been very active. There was a Hell's Lake just good. We get dinner. They gave a fridge. I got to get the taste tested. And then unfortunately didn't make it to sausage gravy, but Shirley Steiner put a sausage gravy deal on for Romney Middle. They were pretty good. There's been a lot going on in the county, but it's been very busy here lately. I guess that kind of leads me to our next thing. Yeah, well,
Thank you, Jesus.
I'm gonna give a little spiel for everybody out and everywhere. We have been in a journey to find a new superintendent. And Mr. Fontaine is retiring at the end of this year. And it has not been a task that has been took lightly at all. We have 550 people and about 2,700 little people that are depending on us to make a good decision. And, but you only do it what you got. So, we did the interview process. We worked with West Virginia School Board Association. They helped us with our search. Had several good candidates, had some from in-house, some from out of town. We had a good mix. We conducted interviews and that was intimidating. I don't know about you all, but I was just as nervous as could be and just, yeah, holy smokes. But we went through, we did the interview process. That was what, 2 weeks ago? We met again last Monday. Got a little time to think about it, check some references, do our due diligence. That, that's what you all elected us for. Yeah, and we took our time. It definitely wasn't as fast as a lot of people wanted to know. I don't know how many times I was stopped at the food line, farm store, along the road. Who's the new superintendent? Can't tell you. I won't tell you. But we did come up with an individual that we thought would that we would like to entertain. So without further ado, I was given a motion to make by the attorney. So if you all don't mind, I'll make the motion. I move to appoint George R. Russ Collette as the superintendent of Hampshire County Schools for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2025, and an annual salary of $118,000 for the first year, $121,000 for the second year, $124,000 for the third, and $127,000 for the fourth year. And upon all of the other terms and conditions of the proposed written contract that has been distributed to the board members, it is available for inspection by the people attending this meeting. It will be made part of the minutes of this meeting and shall be signed by the president on behalf of the board. That is my motion. Do we have any discussion? Or I will entertain a second.
I'll second your motion.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I would like to say is we will have to come with an understanding of how you pronounce his last name.
Okay.
I don't think you did it right.
Russ.
No,
Pollard.
it's Pollock.
So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Is there any other further business for the good of the order? If not, folks, we'll see you back here.
No.
So,
That are
yeah,
no
matter of fact, Andy, this is for you, my friend. Everybody, this is history. This is the last meeting that will be held at Hampshire County Board of Education here. Moving to the new digs. So we appreciate you all coming and we appreciate, everything that everyone's done. We are hereby adjourned at 5:52. That's